The average renter in the U.S. is paying $1,700 a month. Every renter knows what their specific rent number is, but almost nobody does the math past that monthly bill. Using that average and assuming a 5% annual rent increase, over 5 years, that's almost $113,000. Over 10 years, about $257,000. Gone. No equity, no asset, and every rent dollar made someone else richer. And here's what that gap looks like over time. The average homeowner has a net worth of $430,000. The average renter, just $10,000. Net worth is simply what you own minus what you owe on it. And for most homeowners, the biggest piece of that is the equity in their home. That's not a typo. That's the rent versus buy gap in real life. Most people trying to escape it spend months running mortgage calculators and Zillow comparisons, and they still don't buy. Not because the math is wrong, because math was never the problem. I'm going to give you a 3-step strategy that actually gets you out. Stick with me because I'm going to show you exactly why the trap works and how smart people keep falling into it. So why should you be watching this video? Why should you listen to what I have to say? Well, that's a great question. I have over 30 years of experience in real estate. I've worked in new home sales for most of my career. I've also been in sales management. So when I share with you videos about how builders think, it's because I was there with them when they were making those decisions, determining whether to accept or reject an offer. Here's the real problem. You're coming up on the end of your lease. The renewal notice comes, the rent's going up. You tell yourself it's only a small increase per month and you can still afford it. So you sign. Same thing happens the next year and the year after that. At the national average rent increase of 5% a year, within just a few years, your monthly rent could match or even exceed a mortgage payment on a home you actually own. And you still won't own a single square foot if you keep renting. Meanwhile, home prices keep climbing, and every year you wait, the home that you want costs more. And yet the cycle of signing and renewing continues because the decision to buy is either avoided or never made at all because of fear. Good news, that fear has an answer. Stay with me. Feelings are useful, but they're terrible decision engines for what's likely going to be the biggest financial commitment that you're going to make up to this point in your life. That's the rental trap. Fear keeps you from making the decision. And without a plan, fear always wins. And the advice most people are following, it's making that fear worse, not better. There's no shortage of advice from people who mean well, telling you to stop renting and buy a house, which for many people means a jump in monthly payment that'll change the way they live. Fewer vacations, maybe an SUV instead of the sports car that you had your eye on. The difference in monthly payment is real. And without a plan, most people end up in one of two situations: moving too fast and regretting their purchase, or putting it off and remaining trapped in the rental cycle. And here's what makes that worse. Whether you're moving too fast or putting it off, every month that passes is another month of lost opportunity, another month of paying someone else's mortgage for them, and another month of that $430,000 in net worth getting wider. The only thing that closes that gap is a decision, and a decision needs a plan. Everything I've covered so far is the problem. What comes next is the solution, and it's simpler than you think. The plan is built around one uncomfortable truth, that while emotion is an important factor in buying a home, it can also lead to an expensive mistake. There are homes you fall in love with, and there are homes that you stay in love with. From my years working with homebuyers, I developed a framework called Fit Over Feeling, designed to help you answer one question about every home you tour. Does this make sense for my life, not just my heart? It works in 3 steps. Before we dive into that, do me a favor and click the subscribe now, and I'll send you that Fit Over Finish scorecard for free. It's the same tool I use with my own clients, and you'll thank yourself later. Step 1, the financial ceiling. Before you look at a single listing, before you open Zillow, before you do anything, establish your financial ceiling. Anything above this number could place financial strains on your lifestyle. How do you determine what that number is? Well, sit down with a reputable mortgage lender. Share the details of your lifestyle and spending habits, not just your income and debt. Get pre-approved. The lender tells you how much you can qualify for. You decide if that monthly payment works for your life. If you want it lower, tell the mortgage lender. He or she will show you what purchase price that payment covers. That number then becomes your anchor. And if you find a home that exceeds it, at least you're making that decision with your eyes wide open. Step 2 is where most buyers realize they've been thinking about this completely wrong. They begin a home search with a wish list in their minds. Quartz countertops, open floor plan, huge backyard, along with commute time, distance from family and friends, school district, and so on. And they believe they have to have it all. Here's the reality. The home that's ideal for you may just need a willingness to compromise by you a little bit. Maybe the countertops are granite instead of quartz. Maybe the backyard is 25 feet, but the home is next door to a park and playground. Would that be okay? Create a document with 2 columns, non-negotiables and preferences, and then put your wish list in each column. Now ask yourself, if you put a 15-minute commute under the non-negotiable column, but every other box is checked on a home that's 22 minutes away, would you be willing to expand your drive by 7 minutes? Or is that 15-minute commute truly non-negotiable? What about the counters? Ask that same question about every single item in your non-negotiable column, and chances are you're more flexible than you think. And when you move those items to the preferences column, your search could open up in ways you never dreamed of. And understanding that before you walk through a single door changes everything. The third piece is the one most renters avoid entirely: fear. We all experience it. What if I lose my job? What if I make a mistake? What if I buy the wrong house? Consider this. What happens to a renter who loses their job? They fall behind on rent and they get evicted. When you own, the bank doesn't want your home. If you lose your job, call the lender, explain your situation, and in most cases, the lender will work with you. It takes multiple missed payments before foreclosure is even on the table. Owning gives you options that renting never will. And if life takes an unexpected turn, you can always sell. The market has been going up an average of 4% a year historically, which means the home you buy today is likely worth more the day you sell it than the day you bought it. Real estate isn't a life sentence. It's a decision you can always revisit. It's okay to be nervous, but don't let that nervousness hold you back from changing your life for the better, because you can't buy tomorrow's home at yesterday's price. So stay with me now, because what happened to these 2 buyers is exactly what could happen to you. I've worked with a couple in their late 20s, first-time buyers, never owned before, and expecting their first child. They wanted what most young parents want: a neighborhood, a yard, other kids on the street, a place to put down roots. But fear had them frozen. What if one of them lost their job? What if the timing in the market was wrong? We sat down and looked at their situation honestly, and the answer was clear. They were ready. Their child was born into a home that they owned, and as their family grew, they used the equity that they'd built to move into a larger home, and were able to keep their payments affordable. They didn't just buy a house, they bought a foundation for their family. I've also worked with buyers eager to own who weren't quite there yet financially. Too much debt and credit that needed work. We didn't tell them no. We connected them with a reputable lender who gave them a clear roadmap. They consolidated their debt into a lower monthly payment, paid some of it off entirely, and took the money they freed up and put it straight into their down payment savings. 8 months later, they came back, they bought, and now they're living their dream. The only difference between renters who stay stuck and those who become homeowners is having a plan and the commitment to execute it. Your financial ceiling tells you how much you can buy, your non-negotiables tell you what to buy, and facing your fears removes the last thing standing between you and the lifestyle and financial well-being you should already be enjoying. The market isn't waiting for you to feel ready, and every day you wait is a decision to stay stuck in the rental trap. Click subscribe now if you haven't already, and again, I'll send you that free Fit Over Feeling Tour scorecard. And if this video gave you a real plan, not just more noise, hit the like button. It keeps content like this coming and gets it in front of others who are stuck in the same trap. The trap only works if you stay in it. I'll see you in the next one.